Welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me again. It is October 9th, 2024. It is also Wednesday. So, aside from marking the middle of this crazy week and also a slight bit of a Fed day, it is also Discord discussion day. So, if there's anything that you would like to ask questions about or contribute to, please feel free to join us there. It's wonderful discussion. If you need a link, leave a question in the comments below so I can get you a direct link, or also you can request through my email, which is in the links below. So please feel free to join us. If you're not comfortable speaking, you can also just join us in the chat and type out your questions as we're speaking live. So very good discussion group there. If you don't mind joining us, I think it's well worth your while. So with this, let's go into what's going on with the markets this morning. Now, our favored risk indicator, the MMRI, did increase slightly higher. Nothing major. We're at 256.1, so still high territory of risk. But what we're looking at really behind the scenes is watching the 10-year yield and relative strength of the dollar, because the moves they've made recently are something to watch. Now, we're still deep in greed territory as far as the fear greed meter. A lot of retailers still piling in here, a lot of money coming in. There was quite a move yesterday as markets they did have a rally toward the end of the day. So very interesting day, kind of went as was expected, with the Chinese stocks going lower and the money flowing back into the New York Stock Exchange and the American stocks. Now, with this morning, we're watching the 10-year yield relative strength of the dollar gain a little bit more strength. So that's urging just a slight bit of caution into the markets this morning. So starting off, it appears green, but we've also got the futures warning of a bit of pressure possibly towards the end of the day. Now we've got the storm coming in down on the southeast coast of the United States, and that could cause some distortions as well. So right now, we've got the sentiment, we've got the prospect of peace crushing not just oil prices, but inflation, because on word that there might be a treaty, oil dropped. So we've got crude oil down. We've got gold and silver right now still holding their own, but they're hitting pressure points, and they are also retracing. Silver has support at the $30 level. Gold is looking for support just above the 2,500 level. So coming under a bit of pressure as well. To me, these are buying opportunities again before they resume their advance forward. So with this, I'd like to talk about a couple of things on the real economy. First, over in Europe, but it is a good example. They're talking about German industrial orders collapsing. Now, we've got analysts warning that the EU's largest economy over there, it could suffer another recession, and that's because orders have dropped, and they've got a lot of basically turmoil there, not just between their labor, but also between a lot of the supplies and other things that are going on. And Germany is just the one where it's becoming imminent first. So they are merely sitting as an example. They're not an isolated event. With this, we also heard from Collins, the Fed's Collins, so saying that she also sees the risk of the economy showing, quote unquote, beyond what is needed for the slowing. So what does that mean? That means recession, basically, admitting that there is a lot of underlying weakness and that it could drop beyond what they're speaking about in all of this mainstream media propaganda that they're talking about with the strength. So with this, oil inflation will continue. We've got the 10-year yield and relative strength of the dollar gaining strength that will pressure stocks later today. We've had a strong auction going on with the treasuries. So a lot of the flow of money going back into risk off. Precious metals are coming back down to support levels. And it's at that point where it's not financial advice, but I'm going to stack. So with this, let's take a quick look at our calendar. We've got a lot of Fed presidents speaking. So they're really hanging around. They're going to manage the markets to make them move in the direction that they want to. With this, the large event that we're really looking forward to today is at 2 p.m. It's the meeting of the Fed. Basically, their meeting minutes from September meeting. So when they come out with these, they can basically direct the economy whichever way they want to by sounding either hawkish or dovish towards further rate cuts coming later in this year. Now, I've put in tomorrow morning prior to the market open so you can set up your trades for this. We've got initial jobless claims, which I expect to be large if they're anything other than expected. We've also got CPI, core CPI, which used to affect the Fed numbers and through that the market. So with this, I've got a couple of things that I would like to bring up. First off, something very odd. They're now using Netflix and also HBO as new propaganda. I almost said propaganda, but it's kind of appropriate. Basically, as the news, movies as news, which I think is a little bit more revealing in what's going on. Now, what am I talking about? They're having a quote unquote documentary talking about who is Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, if you don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, nobody knows who he is. But as far as the character basically stands for who was the creator as a person or a group of Bitcoin. So now I have my own ideas, has nothing to do with these documentaries, but the underlying is that they're floating out these stories, and that is in preparation to get everybody ready for the fact that they're going to be putting everything onto digital currency, moving further, deeper, faster towards this tokenization and the CBDCs that they will be crushing. So with this, I'd like to keep on. We've got also Kazan going on right now, and this is the BRICS conference. Today, they've got the think tank network for the finance. And then on Friday, they're talking about the finance and central bank governors. We're going to hear from them. Now, Russia is now the current chair, and they just came out saying that the unified currency is still deemed premature by the Russian official. So, as it is right now, they're still trading in native currencies, but also the EU one, which is Chinese currency. So, with this, we've got basically a setup in the background to crush the dollar. This is not going to happen immediately, but there's going to be a lot of repercussions with this. And what I just want to say is that we need to start setting up for this trade right now. And the larger part of this trade that nobody is speaking about is the devaluation of the dollar. Now, whether the dollar is replaced immediately or not, it is heading for devaluation, and by default, a re-evaluation of all other assets across the board, not to mention trade. So this will skew trade values globally. And this is just larger than what I can speak about right now. I'll be speaking about this in the Discord discussion because this is going to be a major disruptor coming forward. So please join us if you can for that, or leave in the comments if you have any questions, and then we'll try to answer that for you. Okay, moving on with a couple of other things I would like to speak about prior to letting you go for the markets. Now, another trend we've got is the banks. We've got Sterling Bank and Trust. The sale was an unlikely success for the CEO of another bank. Well, we're going to watch more of this coming through. Sales of banks, mergers are just outright closing down. I've spoken about this before. There's quite a bit more that has to go. I'm going to say probably at a minimum 25% of the banks, small to medium, that are in existence at this moment are going out the door, merging, selling out, or just shuttering. So look for this forward. That's also a larger number of jobs that are going away. Okay, one other thing I would like to mention about XRP. Now, this particular story is the XRP army ramping up efforts to push back against the SEC in the United States in an appeal over the Ripple case. But really, the underlying story here is that it is being systematically suppressed it is also being utilized by multiple countries as the backing for their CBDC. So I think there could be something very, basically, very critical in this. One other thing I want to bring up, I've been speaking about it every day because I think this is also very critical, and I think they're kind of pushing the narrative, so we're used to this, and then they're going to come in with their move. Now, we've got this same virus starting with an M, ending in a G, named after a place in Germany. We've got an Asian state starting testing on any people arriving at the airport for this. Now, I'd like to mention that there are less than 60 people that have come down with this. There have been, I think, maybe a couple of deaths. There were ill people to begin with, but they're really ramping this up. Now, we've already got major testing at an airport. We've got this solution for it that is being ramped up, not just in this country, not just Russia, but also they're working on it with several other major pharmaceutical companies in the United States. So keep this on your radar because this is ramping up, and it's one that I think has the power to frighten people enough to push them into the solution. So with this, I wish you all a great trading day, wonderful day in general. I hope to speak with you this evening, but until I see you again, my friends, stay free.